BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. So, welcome to this other appointment of 50 minutes of experience. Today I'm with Jedibe Ladrón de Guevara, such a name, what the fuck. And welcome Jedibe to this podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm super excited.
So let's take this ball that you are super excited and introduce you a bit in this podcast, and then we can talk a bit about your picture and your experience.
Of course. So I've been doing photography for quite a while. I initially got very into it by doing street photography, which was my first approach and which I still love. After which I started doing commercial photography, and currently I'm doing staged photography, so a little bit more in a conceptual manner, but it's always been an evolution of one leading to the other. So I think it's been a very natural path towards what I've been working to right now.
So as you know, I know that you're working on a project is about some particular stories about women, and I would love to know if you can explain a bit better what it's about and how it's going.
Yes, of course. So this last project that I've been working on is about me coming from Mexico. We have a lot of femicides going on there, especially in Mexico City, which is where I lived. So basically, per day, 11 women die cause of femicide. So women that have nothing to do with drugs, cartels, or anything. So with this project, what I wanted to do was sort of to create a photographic revenge, because for us, a world in which being a woman and walking safely at night is only something that we can never imagine, like in a movie. It's something surreal because we're used to living in danger. So I wanted to create an alternate world in which women could be and live safely during night and being alone. And in a way, I wanted to make it a photographic revenge, because all of the stories that I chose to portray in these pictures are stories that happened in the real world, victims of femicide. And with these pictures, I wanted to give them a second chance to have like what would have happened if they had been able to live in a world where they hadn't been in danger. And I was very inspired in a way by Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because of course it's a cinematographic revenge of something that could have gone very differently. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind this whole series.
So how is going the project right now, and how is the involvement of the women are working with you?
So currently the project is done for now. It only consists of 5 stories. So each story just has a pair of pictures, so 2 pictures, and then it's anchored with a text. And in that text, I tell the story the way I would have liked it to go, right? And other than that, I didn't work directly with the families or the people involved with the victims, because to me that's a little bit too invasive. But what I did do was work with the models that I worked with are all women that are aware or come from countries where the situation is the same. So because I wanted the feeling that they were, because I wanted the models to fully understand how important or how weird or how imaginary this safe world is, I really wanted them to know it firsthand, as opposed to me just telling them, because of course maybe for a woman that grew up in Holland or even in Germany, they might never know what that fear is. So I didn't want it to be a fake fear. So a lot of my models actually friends that come from Latin America, where the situation is more or less the same.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I think it's really good that something else to talk about because sometimes people are not aware of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, in Berlin. I mean, I was talking just some days ago about that with a girl in a meetup, and she said, yeah, can I go, I don't know, in Rome alone? I said, yeah, I think alone in the night. I said, yeah, probably it's better if you talk with some of my friend. There are girls that probably they can share more experience than mine, but I think even when I was alone in Rome in the night,
Yeah,
scared to walk in some streets because yeah, it was quite dangerous.
yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I think it's the same, even the same in the South America, and I don't know, probably that is also in USA. But in general, yeah, what you do it in your work is also a lot to talk about yourself or to use yourself as an actor of some scene, we can say, no?
Yep.
And what you can tell me about that? How
So
that work with yourself?
yeah, so it's interesting that you noticed that because usually what I like to do with my work is take other people's emotions and then transform them into mine, as if it was my story to tell, and then that's the way that I like to approach creating the image. But because this last year, because we all know because of the pandemic and everything, it was very hard to access models to the point where I started modeling myself, and then I found myself keeping in some way an autobiographical link, even though even though the pictures might have messages that's completely unrelated to myself. So it's interesting because it kind of came naturally that as much as the topic and of itself has nothing to do with me, I somehow turned it into my own. And of course, every time I think this goes for every artist out there. um, every work has a little piece of you. Absolutely every single piece of work that you do has a little piece of you. And in this case, it became a huge piece of me, because not only is there that attachment that you have to your work, but also I had to learn how to try to model and how to focus without any help, and how to it was a lot of fun. It was super fun.
Yeah.
And I would definitely recommend to anyone that's into photography or any type of art, like, if you have the time or chance to do it, definitely try to be your own director, photographer, and model, because you learn so much about even about the approach that you can have with people next time that you're shooting someone, right? Because it's very different to be in front of the camera than to be behind the camera.
Yeah, totally.
um
Totally. I mean, I can say the same. I did a model not only of myself but also for some friends of mine in the past. Yeah, even naked, and yeah, that was for me an experiment also to understand how uh, to be in front of someone else when I shoot. And yeah, it's what I think always when, especially when I organize the meetup with a model.
mm,
I always have this feeling that probably I have to doing a warm up where I have to let them understand how is the feeling to say in front of the camera, not behind the camera.
yeah, I think it's super important that as much as us as photographers, we like being behind the camera. I think every single one of us should take any opportunity that we have to be in front of the camera, because then you can notice the things that make you feel comfortable or uncomfortable, right? And then you can keep that in mind the next time you're working with someone.
So I want to keep one of question I did to some of people, and I want to ask to you: do you think photography is a way to catch the beauty, or is a way to catch the truth?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question. I think without a doubt there's a very inherent aesthetic part to it, but also um paradoxically, I think that it is a way to find the truth, but not to portray the truth that we live in. To me, it's more a medium that can somehow help you, first of all, find a question, and second of all, find an answer to that question, not through the physical truth and reality that we live in, but through the realities that you can create with that medium. So to somehow get closer to your own truth as opposed to a universal truth.
Yeah, I got the point. So for the last but not last, I want to ask you: there is something you think in experience of photography that is missed, and in a way, uh, you will claim something that probably usually other people or in general in this world there is not there. It's not there. That yeah, it's contour. It's a bit contoured. The question is there is something you would like to claim in photography world that doesn't exist or exist, but is just a niche, and you know that it's a niche or it's something. It's just some feeling or some experience you would like to do it. Something you say, yeah, there is not that here. It's really difficult to find this kind of realities.
You mean particularly here in Berlin, where we are?
For you. I mean, we are in Berlin.
Oh,
It's
you,
also.
yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't dare, or I wouldn't even begin to say that I am missing something in this photography world, because I still have so much to learn. So like every time I find something new, I'm mesmerized, I'm blown away. But what other photographers are doing, um, whether it be commercial or photojournalism or staged. So I personally have never found myself in a position where I think the current contemporary photography world is missing something, because I myself don't feel that I can completely say I know everything. However, there's just one thing that I've always thought, and that I always have very ingrained in my way of analyzing photography, and it's that I'm a super big fan of a balance between form and content. And I find mainly now in the contemporary, like 2021 digital era that we're living, I feel like a lot of times we focus way too much on one or way too much on the other. And to me, that's the hardest part, and that something that I would like to see more, to find a balance in which it's not just about the aesthetics, but it's also not just about creating a weird concept that doesn't really translate into what you're seeing. And I wouldn't even dare say that it's something that's missing. I would only say that's something that I pay a lot of attention to. But other than that, I feel like we're living an amazing time for photography. Like it, it's amazing.
So what do you think is the best way, for example, to expose the project, the last project you did? I mean, there is something you think like, yeah, I don't want to expose
Mm.
in a museum or a gallery. I don't want to expose my picture on the social network. I want to do it that.
Yeah, I think for sure the best way to go is trying to send it to contests and festivals, because I think that's the best, especially as an upcoming artist, if you could call it that way. Or I mean, I wouldn't even consider myself that. Just as someone that's working without anyone knowing who you are, I think the best thing you can do is just send it to as many contests or festivals, or every little thing that you find. And then even if you don't get the exposure that you're looking for, at least you're putting yourself out there, and somehow your work will slowly start getting not recognized but looked at. I think that's or personally I think. But also I think the important thing is that you know how to talk about your work, and like, not it's not just about the picture in and of itself. It's also a lot about knowing how to sell yourself, like having a proper artist statement, and knowing who to write to, what to write. I think those are the most important things to get exposed.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I'm on the side that I think like for sure open call festival are a good way to not a lot exposed, I think, because today's there is too many festivals.
Mm,
It's really hard to get exposed. But I think it's more to create connection.
right.
This for sure. But to get exposed, I think Today I think a lot about that, and I think a lot about, okay, how I can make the difference to a visual artist to make exposure, in which way I have to present someone. And so then probably there is a transformation also, I think. I mean, after the activation of the profile of Instagram, I started to think also, okay, I have to find a way. It's probably not really external that everyone can get access to, but
Mm-hmm.
it's much more personal to expose the artist, because
Yeah.
probably it's also that probably we are also too much reserved in a jail of a system that usually, in a way, for example, Instagram, yeah, for sure, you can have a lot of exposure on it, but you know, as me, as other people, you have to work a lot. And
Yeah, for sure.
3 years of working for 3,300 follower in the end, for all the content created, all the work did, that's probably, I don't know, I would expect much more than
Yeah, for sure.
what I had.
You
Uh,
know, I completely agree with you. First of all, it's super hard, but second of all, the thing that I appreciate a lot about social media and the way like that type of exposure that you're talking about right now, it's that it's unlike festivals and like very not high end, but like very specific events where you don't create community with people. You're just there to look at the art or to consume it. On social media, it's super nice that it's also about creating community, so getting to know each other and
the
really.
fact is the only things that in the end left me a bit sad about the activation of the profile. That's just I lost all the connection I created. But yeah, the point I think also, fortunately, half or more than half of them I got the email, but
Nice.
in any way it's difficult to get in touch then with 3,000 people.
Yeah, for sure.
And, but what I think is that probably we don't have, in a way, because in the end, yeah, this is the point. Depends how much you want to connect with the people and which way you want to connect. And by Instagram, from Instagram, it's totally difficult to connect with people. I mean, you have to create a series of action that
Mm,
Instagram can recognize as a bot or what else. But yeah, if you don't do it, for example, a comment, if you don't follow that, I mean, I'm not the one that think about, okay, I have to follow everyone I like, because probably I need 3, 4 account to follow every person I like.
yeah.
But the point is also that you have to spend the time with these people. So then, if I follow someone, I have to go to check once per month what he's doing or not.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's super hard because now more than ever, everyone is, you know how every once in a while you'll get a direct message, a DM from a bot saying like, if you want more followers or come and look at my pictures, or so we're so used to that now that for someone to really connect with you, you really have to feel the interest or like the, I don't want to say love because that's like over the edge, exaggerated, but a genuine interest, you know. And of course, if you think about, I think about the people that I follow, right? And even like, even when I like when the your previous profile was active, I often think, dude, I'm gonna write them a message, but they probably receive like so many messages a day, plus the bots that they write to, that I understand why it's so hard to actually connect with people.
yeah. I mean, in the end, imagine I was answering to every person. I never, I mean, I had for sure some messages was always the same for the like the invitation of open call and blah blah. But then yeah, if someone was asking me something totally else, I was not using any messages pre-made, no.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, I have to tell you, this is something that I spoke with a friend of ours that we have in common, that I admire so much, the fact that you pay so much attention to every single person that is somehow involved with you, not only through Instagram, but also like through you, the fact that you take the time to write to each one of us individually and ask how you're doing, and like really make sure that everyone's feeling comfortable and safe and involved. Honestly, I think that's admirable, and I think you're doing it the right way, man. And I think if anything, anyone that knows you, we could take example on the way you're doing it, because I think that's the right way to do it. And even though it might take a little bit longer than, for instance, someone that has a
But
content media manager or a bot or whatever, these connections are genuine, you know, like the way we met through your project, or the people that I've met through your project, they're real people and real connections, right? It's not just follow for follow kind of thing.
I mean, it's not about the follow. It's not about this. It's more about what you can create with the person you have in front of you, and this is for me the why I do it podcast, and then I say, okay, let's do it also something else, this and that, because I mean, even if I have a 1 million follower, okay, probably will be really helpful for the marketing part, but then between the marketing and the following, probably you have also to create something that
Yeah.
other people can do it. And here there are a lot of questions come to my mind that yeah, there are many pages, as you know, as everyone know, that they share just pictures. They take a picture from the profile they share, and they have 1 million followers.
Yes, that's crazy.
So okay, I spend time talking with these people. I publish them on the book. I spend time of to doing the podcast, the interview wrote, and blah, 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 a lot of stuff, no? And in the end, no one give a fuck. So I have just to probably share the picture and don't give a fuck about others. Sometimes I say that to myself, because it's you know, what I do, it's for sure what I will love that someone do it with me as a photographer, as a creator.
For sure. For sure, for sure.
I learned that if you want something good in your life, you have to be the first to doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, when you want things to be done properly, you have to do it yourself.
So thank you a lot for your time and for this small talk. And this was Jedibe, that you can find the link in the description if you want to see the projects and everything about there. And if you want to keep a comment or talking about the topic Jedibe is running on, you can use the last link in description for a voice comment. Otherwise, that's it. So thank you a lot again.
Thank you so much, Emiliano.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, and if you want to learn more about us, you can visit the link allmylinks.com, Berlin Explorer, or our website beexproject.com. And if you want to follow us, you can always get news from Instagram on our account BEEX Project. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode.